Hi there, everybody. How are you today? I'm seeing we've already got a nice chat going on. So thank you to those of you who are active in the chat. Hello to everybody. I'm really excited for today's challenge because it is a big challenge for me. It's always a big challenge for me. Again, you guys know I pick these challenges because I find them challenging. I want to stretch my creativity and in turn become a better paper crafter. And I find these challenges very helpful. But this one was stressing me out a little bit. So I'll give you a little bit more information about that soon. But I just want to let everybody know that we are always giving away a $15 gift certificate. As long as you share this live, you will be entered to win. So we do that for all of our lives. A really easy way to get some essentially free money, right? I don't want to say it like that, but it's kind of like free money. If you were going to buy something anyway, you might as well get some Altenew bucks to get put towards it via a form of a gift card or gift certificate, whatever we're calling it these days. So definitely, if you share us while we're live, go into the chat and comment that you have shared, just so that we know to include your name in the drawing. And then that's going to be selected towards the very, very end of the live. So we've got Mitzi today behind the Altenew badge. As I said earlier, my name is Jen Raza, and I am here pretty much every Tuesday. Although I have a question for you guys before we jump into business for today, because I feel like we are not getting as many participants as we used to. So do we feel like this should be every other week challenges, or should we stick to every week, or should the live be every other week, or the live be every week and then I just do the challenge again in a different way? Let me know what you guys think, because I definitely want to encourage all of you to play with the challenges, because then you also get to become better crafters in the process. And it's fun and we encourage each other. And I love watching or checking out all of the projects that you guys create. So definitely let me know what you think. Nancy's asking how I'm feeling. Would you believe, like, we are still fighting this cold hard? And Logan ended up having an ear infection. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I had a cold. My husband had a cold. We still have colds. And now that I'm like thinking about it, I feel like I have to cough. So excuse me for a second. But it definitely hasn't been as bad. As you could tell, my voice is definitely better. There was like 1 or 2 days there when it was really terrible, but it wasn't too bad last week on the live, and it's definitely better today. So thank you so much for asking. But I don't know, maybe it's just the time of year and we can't do anything about it. So let's see. I'm trying to see if anyone gave. Oh, every week, whatever works for us, every week. Okay, so we'll do every week. We'll keep going every week. Carrie's saying at evening time might draw more people because they have to work during the day. Yeah, evening time gets a little bit hairy for me, unless it's like really late, like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't know if that would be too late. Just because around like 5:30, we start like dinner and then a bath for my son and then bedtime stories, and we play a little bit and then we do bedtime routine, and then sometimes I'm not eating until after we put him down. We try to eat with him, but like, timing doesn't always work out, and sometimes it's easier to just get him fed and then we eat. So like, I think if I did it in the evening, it'd have to be really late. So plus, you guys can always watch on the replays and hopefully still join in. Nancy says, this is your show. Do what's best for you. I love that. Okay. Everyone seems to like the challenges every week. I just want to make sure that you guys have time to play along and have time to join in. So like I said, just if you ever want to message me or message Altenew or something and give your feedback there too, that's fine. All right, so let's get into our challenge last week. I'll show you what I made just as a reminder, or if you weren't here last week, and then we can announce the winner. So this was for neutral territory, and neutrals are not, well, brown neutrals, I would say. The warmer neutrals are not really my go-to. I do tend to really like black and white and silver and grays. So this was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I was really excited to use this PK. This was the October PK, and it is the illuminated scenes. So I really enjoyed doing that and playing with the texture. Guys, this finally dried. It wasn't too long after the live ended, and it is like the perfect texture for that blanket. I just really like touching it. Just gonna keep rubbing it. So I'm really happy with this one. You know, sometimes I do these cards live and I'm like, that wasn't really the best. It was fun to do, but I didn't like love the outcome. This one, I really like the outcome, and it's inspiring me to use browns more frequently because it is not, as I said, not really my go-to. All right, so let's get into your projects. I need to share my screen, so hold on. Okie dokie. All right, hopefully that popped up. Let me double check. Yes, it looks like it popped up. So this was Lacey J, and I really loved how this project looks with the combination of the metallics and the glitter and the neutrals, and just really, really a fun project. So I really liked seeing all of them. You would think that with a theme like neutrals, there would just be like too much similarity or sameness from project to project, but everybody had their own interpretation. Everyone has their different tones of neutrals they like to use. I think a lot of you were excited to incorporate metallics just because it does help break up some of the monotony of having just similar tones. So I really love everything that everyone created. And then this was the one I picked for the winner. So again, that is Lacey J. So Lacey J, congratulations, and make sure you reach out to us and mention that you are the challenge winner for this week so we can get you hooked up with your prize. Anne is asking, I wish there was Norwegian text in a better press plate. Okay, so let's address that quickly. We love doing things in other languages, and the Altenew team is really diverse. So both on our like founding and leadership team, we've got people all across the country and in other countries as well. And then our design team and people that have worked for us really kind of span the globe. So we really do enjoy incorporating that multicultural, worldly approach to our products. However, a problem that we have, and we've released quite a few sets before that have been in other languages, especially mainly sentiment sets. And I know we have like thanks around the world. We've got one with like birthday greetings in other languages. We've got label loves that have come out in multiple languages. But whenever we do that, I feel like the demand for them isn't strong enough to justify getting them manufactured. If that makes sense, because, you know, we don't self-manufacture. So the manufacturer has order minimums and there's a certain amount that we have to get in order for it to make sense. I know it's like the most boring thing to talk about right now, so I'll just gloss over that. But really, it comes down to if we think that there's going to be enough demand to justify it. So you are the first person I've seen that is asking for Norwegian text, but if there are others and we feel like there might be a need for it, we can definitely look into that. So sorry for like a really long way of saying not yet. But I just want to be honest with you because there's just a lot that goes in behind the scenes, especially when we're doing something that might not appeal to such a wide audience. Okay, so let's get into today's challenge. So today we are doing novel ideas. And I told you this was a challenge for me because, and I like have to cover my face because it's embarrassing and shameful, especially as a teacher. I don't read really, like I don't read for fun. I know a lot of people are like big into reading novels and book clubs, doing a lot with books, and I just never really got into it. I, as a musician, I just was always so busy. I couldn't read books. I would be like in high school and college. I was just practicing so much that I really only read if it was assigned to me in a class. And then after I graduated and then I got a job as a teacher, like I still just do so much music and crafting. Then we started Altenew, and I just don't read for fun. And it's not like I hate reading. Reading is fine. I just don't like it enough to set aside that time. And it's terrible and it's embarrassing. Don't hate me for it, because I tell all my students to read and I tell them how great reading is. And I just feel like it's a little bad that I don't. But we are getting inspiration from books. And yes, I do read to my son every day. Luckily, his books are so short. We read like 6 books a day. So I'm reading all the time. So I've got children's books in the brain. And all you need to do today is get inspired by any type of book. It could be a short story. It could be a novel. It could be fiction. It could be nonfiction. Susanna says audiobook. Yes, it could be an audiobook. I should get into audiobooks because I do have time to listen while I'm doing other things. So maybe I should definitely get into that. But you can also do children's books. You could do classic stories. The book I'm getting inspired by today, I'm sure no one's ever heard of, but it is a fun book that I read to my students and to my son. And it's kind of a spin on There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly, if you know that story / song. And this one is There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed Some Leaves. There's like a whole series of old lady who swallowed a blank. It was like they sold the one book and they're like, let's just make 1 million of these and see how many stories we can get people to buy. But during the fall, it's really fun to read that with my students. And then we do all these fun little like sound effects and we sing and you get to sneeze in the book. I'll just give you like a little quick tidbit of it, but it starts with like, there was an old lady who swallowed some leaves. I don't know why she swallowed those leaves. Perhaps she'll sneeze. Achoo! We get to like pretend to sneeze. And then she just swallows all this other stuff. But during the book, everything she swallows ends up becoming something in the end. After she's like eaten everything, she does one big huge sneeze and it all comes out. And spoiler alert, it's a scarecrow. So I was thinking about like leaves and pumpkins and things like that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. At least that's my plan. I have more of a plan than usual, but I see a lot of you guys know the books, you know the songs, and also there are suggestions for a Norwegian paper crafting company. I didn't get a chance to read all of it, but whoever it was that asked about that, please check the chat because people are putting in some information there for you. But yeah, it looks like actually maybe some of you do know about those books. I figured The Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly, most people know pretty well. All right, let's pop you down. I'll show you what I grabbed and then we'll get into some crafting today. Okay, so popping to my camera. Okay, so I grabbed some pumpkins. I also got this maple tree. Somehow I ended up with mostly dies, the Crispy Leaves die set, the Garden Friend die set, and then I've got these stamps and then great sentiments about like autumn. This is part of the Autumn Whispers stamp set, which has all of these different leaf varieties. So dogwood, oak, locust, ginkgo, willow, red maple, elm, sugar maple, hickory, tulip, poplar. So it's printed on here so you know which is which. And I might use these. I really don't know, but I definitely want to make one pumpkin because when she swallows the pumpkin, it ends up getting a face. I might even draw a face on it. I don't know. But here's what I'm thinking for the inspiration is just kind of die cutting these elements, maybe stamping some leaves and then seeing how they look good together. Oh, Carrie just read that to her 3-year-old grandson. Oh, that's so perfect. It is a fun book. It's silly. But I feel like a lot of children's books, there's so many in a series because they realize like, oh, I can just sell more of these. Like, oh, this character is going on 10 other adventures. So that's 10 more books. On the back here, we do have the layering guide. So you do just need to see which ones coordinate together. There are 3 different size pumpkins. And I'm thinking I just need to do the largest pumpkin for sure. I think that would be the best. So I'm going to be pulling the pieces that I need. for this. Kim said the suggestion on ASL and Braille. Oh, I'll have to go back and read it. I think I missed it. These comments scroll by so quickly. I often have a hard time seeing all of them, but I do go back, guys, every day on Tuesday, sometimes right after the live and sometimes more in the evening. I go back and I read all the comments because I know sometimes I miss some things. All right, and this is the group of 4 extra pieces, these additional pieces that go on top. So I've got them right here. And then of course I need the stems. Now this one does not have the keyhole, just the way that it layers up, but you do have these etching lines, and I'll show you how that helps you put on the subsequent layers. Also with a pumpkin, it's something organic. It's not going to look off if you're not placing them perfectly in position. All right, now let's grab the mini blossom. And if you're just joining us today, I am happy that you're here. We are doing our inspired by a book. So it's our novel ideas. And yeah, mine's not a novel. It's a children's book. There was an old lady who swallowed some leaves, and we're going to get some pumpkins and leaves and just kind of make a scene. She also swallows a pole and a shirt. I don't have a shirt and pants. So we're doing a loose interpretation. It's really like this, how does the story inspire your project? And all you have to do is like write a sentence about it. Just sometimes it's not always obvious what your inspiration is. So I would say if this was my post, like, oh, this children's book, there was an old lady who swallowed some leaves and she creates a scarecrow in the end. So I used pumpkins and leaves. Like, you don't need to like really go deep. You don't need to create the whole story on your project. If you want to, and you can figure out a way to do that, that is great. All right, so let's do, excuse me. Let's do the die cutting for the pumpkin first. And then I'm kind of going to see which size leaves I think work best. And then if I have time to get the maple tree, I think it might be cute if I just do the branches and the trunk without the leaves, because I'm going to be putting the leaves around the pumpkin. So it's kind of like they all blew off. And then the lady ate all of them. I know some of you guys I'm seeing are like commenting on my singing voice. First of all, that's very kind of you to say it's nice, especially because my throat is not like 100% healed. So I appreciate the compliments. Number 2, it's always hard for me to take compliments on my singing voice. And that is because I am primarily a instrumentalist. So I grew up playing the viola and since have added other instruments that I play. So I play the violin, viola, piano, flute, guitar, bass guitar. I do some cello, you know, a lot of different instruments, but I still don't feel like singing is a strength of mine, even though I sing all day, every day at school. All right, this is the Crafty Necessities Sunkissed. It's reading very yellow on screen. It's more vibrant and slightly orange toned, but I think that might look good with our pumpkin. And then let me get caramel toffee. I think that would look good. And I'm just choosing some random cardstock here. Yeah, Sue says that's a lot of instruments. It is. So my certification covers elementary, middle school, and high school. So kindergarten up through 12th grade. And I'm certified to teach chorus, general music, band, and orchestra. So our certification covers everything. So we learn how to play all those instruments. So I've played everything. I've played trumpet, trombone, clarinet, saxophone, but those skills have since passed me. But the ones I mentioned earlier, I still play fairly frequently. So my chops are still good there. All right, I need one more color that I think might go. Pumpkin pie seems like the right move, right? For a pumpkin. So, oh, kind of like, yeah, I think this will work. These three should go well together. So it's kind of like pumpkin-y and yellowy. Again, this yellow is looking quite bright. It's more orange toned in real life. Okay, now I'm just going to trim these pieces down just so it's easier to manage them and run them through the die cut machine. For the stem, I wish I had a scrap of brown. I think I'm just going to ink blend on one of these just so that I don't have to worry about grabbing another piece of cardstock right now or another color of cardstock. And I've got some tape on my desk. I'm always talking about how I use and reuse our satin masking tape. So it's always nice to have those at the ready. And Nancy played flute and guitar. That's great. I love meeting fellow musicians. I'm just going to kind of crank out all these at once. Just, that's fine. All right, let's think about which color is which. I'm going to look at my layering guide, and you can see here the darker is the base. So I'm going to use the darkest for the big part of the pumpkin. And yeah, this is Pretty Pumpkins. I believe this was last year we released these. They're really cute. And then the next layer I will do in medium tone. And then finally the lightest. And then I will also do the stems. It's doing all the stems for all three pumpkins. I only need one of the stems, and I am going to ink blend over it. And I've got my plates, and I also have my shim, which I'll probably use for these more detailed ones. So I'm curious if you guys can put into the chat what some of your favorite books are, if you read for fun, if you're part of a book club, if you go to the library a lot, anything about books. Maybe you can recommend books to one another. I feel like I'm out of the loop when it comes to books because of my limited reading time. All right, for this one, I am going to send it through with the metal shim. I'm strange, and I put my metal shim on top and not inside of the sandwich. Feel free to place it in the sandwich like a normal person. Okay, I don't want to lose these pieces, so I'm just going to put that like that. And then last but not least, my details and my stems. Now, if you wanted to add more detail to these, you could definitely die cut them in the colors and then add ink blending to everything. That will make these pumpkins look far more realistic, which I love. But for time today, I'm probably just going to keep it as is because I do want to do some stamping for my leaves as long as the size looks good, and then maybe include some of those other die cut leaves. So there's a lot going on today. So we're just going to leave the pumpkin like this. And then we're going to pull back the layering guide. And I see that Carrie says she's on the Friends of the Library Committee until just recently, and she still helps at their annual book sale. Nancy reads cheesy mysteries that are free on Amazon Prime. Nancy, do you remember the titles? Maybe someone else here will also be interested in reading those. I love that you say they're cheesy too, the cheesy mysteries. Okay, I need the biggest for this pumpkin. And let me just get a little bit of ink and an ink blender. I'm just going to use Mocha. and grab a ink blending brush. And I'm just going to do it on a scrap. I'm not going to bother pulling out my sticky mat right now, just for this little tiny thing here. All right, so that should be good. We'll scoot that over. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more. I could kind of see some of that yellowish orange peeking through. So let's load it up. Okay. Nancy says she does more self-help books for chronic pain and pain on behavior. Brick by Burke says historical fiction. Oh, that's cool. World War II genre. That's great. And then pop-up books. Oh, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, maybe someone can do their inspiration from a pop-up book and you can incorporate pop-up elements on your project. That would be really cool. That's a great idea to Kailsh. I'm sorry if you're not supposed to pronounce it like that. Kailsh. And then pop-up butterflies. That is a really cool idea. All right, I'm just going to grab my glue and we'll start assembling this pumpkin. So I'm going to start here and then add this medium toned layer. Trying not to lose any of these itty bitty pieces. And now I can use these etchings. You guys can't see it. There we go. I have to get the right angle. The little etched, the debossed lines, I can use them as a guide because I can see where they are in between these layers. So I know if I place it like this, bring it down, and I can still see that etched line that is invisible to you guys right there. Trust me, it's there. Then I know I'm in the right position. So this is exactly where that goes. So let me just add a bit of glue. Yeah, pop-up books seem to be a popular thing. My son likes the ones that are, it's like a whole pop-up series. I don't know why I can't think of what it's called, but he's got one about sea creatures. There's even licensed ones. So he has one for like Spider-Man and Friends. I read them all the time. I don't know why it's blanking me what that series is called, but they have them at Barnes and Noble. It's like a whole, they usually put them on like a table, or there's like a whole rack full of them, a whole shelf of them in the kids section. But yeah, he really likes those. So pop-up is a great idea. Okay, so I've got this, and then don't forget the little pieces up top. It just adds a little bit of extra dimension. So this one is going to go up here. Liz, yeah, also loves pop-up books. And then I'm seeing short Victorian romance novels. Oh, that sounds fun. I know a lot of people who are into the romance novels, but I love that you read Victorian era. That's really cool. Okay, let's put this one here. And yeah, I'm really tempted to give this a face, because if it was a scarecrow, it would have a face. But I'm not sure if that's going to look weird. I guess it depends on what greeting I want for it. A face would be good for a Halloween card, but I don't know if that's what I'm creating here. So we'll hold off. But my thought is, if I want to add a face, I can use one of our fine liners. We have a bunch of those that are in all different widths. So that will be really great to create a little face on this pumpkin. All right, now I'm going to go to the next layer, which are all these light pieces. And I'm just going to follow the guide to put them into position. If one of them's upside down or in the wrong spot, no one will know. It's just adding that little bit of depth. Okay, so I think this one goes, yeah, right over here. And then this one that has the little notch out of it, it's like a little blob with a cutout right there. That one goes here. Just move that a little bit. Okay. Blob with the notch. Then we've got the long blob and then the half moon. Well, it's not a half moon, sorry, crescent moon. Liz says she loves mysteries and it's been a while. She finished AEP, yay, and started hosting monthly workshops and reading, has been on her mind, got to get back into it. Yeah, I know people that do read a lot also kind of, you have time sometimes and then life gets in the way and then you get back to it. So I get it. Okay, and then our last little piece, and then we could put the stem on it. So this big piece comes off to the side and it just makes our pumpkin look even more realistic. Look, it's funny. Now the yellow, I think, is looking more orange like it's supposed to. It was just when the yellow paper was by itself, it was looking very bright and like sunshiny yellow. I think it's the way the camera just does the white balance adjusting. And it just makes it look kind of inaccurate to the actual colors. Okay, this last piece just tucks in just like that. I don't know if you can hear my son. If you've been here the last few weeks, you probably know what they went and picked up. We get our Starbucks today, and I've been all about the matcha lattes. The green tea matcha latte. I just need to put some adhesive at the bottom because the rest of it goes over the pumpkin. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Logan. And we've got that right here. And I am loving this. Kathy, thank you for sharing it. Okay, look at this. So cute. Okay, so this is the start. So there was an old lady who swallowed a pumpkin. She wasn't a pumpkin when she swallowed the pumpkin. I believe those are the words. Okay, so let's put these back on. And let's think leaves, because the title of the book is The Old Lady Who Swallowed Some Leaves. We absolutely need to have some leaves. I lost one of my pumpkin dies. Oh, here it is. Let's put that back on before I lose it again. And popping these back. And then I don't need this anymore. I just need one pumpkin, because in the story, she only swallows one pumpkin. It's leaves, a shirt, pants, a pole, a pumpkin, and hay. Oh yeah, she fills the pants with hay. So she swallows some hay. All right, so we're going to stick to the pumpkin and some leaves, and let's see what we're thinking about the leaves. I do love the idea of having a tree in the background, but our pumpkin is quite large, so I don't know if I'm going to be stuck throwing too many things on this card. Let me just grab a white cardstock panel first. We could do some project planning. Looks like I need to cut a new piece of cardstock. I have a larger piece than I need right now. Okay. So I've got this. If I put the tree behind, maybe like off to the side and in the back, I think that's actually pretty cool. Then I will put leaves around the bottom. My original idea was to have leaves like all the way around, but I think with the tree, it'd just be too much. So we'll look at the pumpkin and we'll put some leaves down at the bottom. Carrie's saying the tree's on her wish list. It is an awesome one. So this is the majestic maple tree, and I'm not doing the leaves, but it looks so cool with all the leaves. I'm just going to do the bare tree so we can imagine that all the leaves blew off and then our old lady ate all of them. A.M. Smith is asking about AECP. So Mitzi, if you don't mind, can you put in the chat and link to the AECP program so that AM can check that out? But basically, it's an education program. it's a certification program. And even if you like have no experience crafting, by the time you go through each level, you gain more and more skills. And by the end, you will be certified to teach. So a lot of our certified educators will teach workshops and use Altenew products, and we support your endeavors as teachers. And it's like a lot of cool things and opportunities that you can get, and you learn so much. So we'll get the link popped in there so you can check that out. Okay, so we're figuring out leaves, the size of leaves. I do want to stamp some of my leaves just because I'm doing so much die cutting here. Maybe I could do a mix of some stamped leaves and then some of the die cut leaves from one of these two sets. I'm just taking the dies out so I can see how big they are. So I like this maple leaf. They're kind of huge. We're not really to scale here. There's one I think would look cute. So that's these two. Let's get this one up here. So maybe I'll stamp these and then die cut them and then see what else we have room for. This one looks fall-like. Okay. This one too. Yeah, we'll do one more, this pointy one. Okay. So let me get those stamps out. And I'll pull them off of this sheet here. Okay, let's get these going. I'm going to grab that other piece of cardstock I had, and I'll just stamp out on here using my stamp wheel. This is the original stamp wheel, not the 2.0. The 2.0 is awesome, but it is larger, and I find it's easier to keep everything in view of the camera if I use the smaller one. But let me actually put this out of view of the camera so I can make room here. Take this, put that aside, make room for my stamp wheel. And then for those of you who are just coming in, our challenge this week is novel ideas, which means you need to take inspiration from a book, any type of story, children's book, adult book, romance novel, nonfiction, the dictionary, I don't know, whatever book you can think of that you want to find inspiration from and interpret in a way on your project. And then please share it with us. Now, if you share your project, you do need to use hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, and that's how we can find your project so that we can check it out. Some of you are talking about the Harvest Pie set. Yeah, that was just released. And you can make really cute little pies. That goes with this whole fall season too. Okay, now I have to remember which leaves I grabbed because I picked the sizes that I thought would work and the leaves that looked fall-like. I think I took 5 leaves out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, and then the leaf that's just kind of like laying down, the sugar maple. And I'm just going to mount these all together. And I want to just grab my stamp conditioning eraser. Christine, yeah, the dictionary leaves room for interpretation. I'm not going to say a certain book isn't allowed. The thesaurus is fine. The Bible is fine. If you have a favorite book from your childhood, if you have a book that you read last week, even if there's a book maybe you haven't read and you want to read it and you know what it's about, maybe that's something that you can use. You make your project and then you use that as inspiration to go read the book. There's a lot of ways you can interpret this. So I just used the stamp conditioning eraser and I'm going to take out some different leafy colors. I think I want some reds and oranges. Try to find something that's not too bright. I got rhodolite, but I feel like that's really dark. I'm just off screen looking through all of my inks. I think grapevine might be a good one. Okay, so we'll do grapevine. We'll do fire brick. We're doing like kind of dark muted. caramel toffee. Okay, I think those would be good. Excuse me. So I'll just do these two and the caramel toffee. These two in fire brick. And then grapevine in the middle. Did I leave room? I did. Okay, that looks good. Okay, here are all my fall leaves. Oops, I did not stamp that well. Let me just give that another go. Just to get that extra piece. There we have it. And Kathy just had some pumpkin cheesecake. Oh, that's cool. I love cheesecake. I don't know if I've had pumpkin cheesecake. I live very close to a cheesecake factory, and I don't know if Cheesecake Factory is like good as far as cheesecake standards are concerned. There used to be a bakery in Somerville, and Somerville is right outside of Boston. It's like the next town over, kind of by Cambridge, like if you know the Boston area. And they used to make like the best cheesecake. I think it was called 789 Bakery, like 7, and then instead of an 8, like ATE. There's like a riddle. The punchline is 789. But yeah, 789 Bakery. And they unfortunately closed a few years ago, but they made a really good cheesecake. And I don't think I've had cheesecake since they closed, but I'm only like 5 minutes away from a cheesecake factory. And I have a feeling they'd probably have pumpkin cheesecake. So I should go try that out. We're getting recommendations. She says it's delicious. Okay. Has anyone else had pumpkin cheesecake? I do love pumpkin flavored things and pumpkin spice flavored things. So I think I would like it. It sounds awesome. You guys, we have like 15 minutes left. I am not finishing this card today, and that is A-okay. Because, time to announce and remind you, you don't have to submit a finished project. I often don't finish my projects live because we chat so much and I brainstorm live, and sometimes you guys give me ideas of what I should be doing if I can't decide. And that all takes time, and I feel like if I don't finish my project during the live, how can I tell you that you have to finish your project? So it can be incomplete as long as it satisfies the challenge prompt. So if you're giving me a blank piece of cardstock and you're like, this is my work in progress, well, obviously that doesn't that doesn't show how you incorporated this challenge of novel ideas and incorporating a book. So you have to have something that pertains to the challenge that you can explain. But if it's not finished, that's okay. You can still take a picture, submit it, say, I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. And then use the hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. But yeah, I am not going to be finishing today, guys. It's not possible in the time we have left. Tracy, thank you for sharing. Nancy makes her own pumpkin cheesecake with a pecan crust and low-fat cream cheese. That sounds so good. I love that. I need to do some more, like finding new recipes. I sometimes get in a recipe rut, and I find that I make the same things all the time. Like we rotate the same dinners and make the same desserts for the same holidays. And I think I just need to spice it up and try some new stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to use the coordinating dies. So these are from that Autumn Whispers set. Yeah, they're super cute. I'm really curious to see what space I have left and which other leaves I think might look good to accompany these stamped leaves, because I've got those 2 other die cut sets. And I think 2 more. Yeah. Okay, grabbing some more of that satin masking tape. Tracy makes pumpkin cinnamon cheesecake. Oh, cinnamon whipped cream. That sounds so good. I love cinnamon anything. like cinnamon rolls, or I'll put cinnamon in my yogurt, or I'll put cinnamon, I don't know, in whipped cream. That sounds really good. Any chance I have to put cinnamon in something, like apple crisp with a whole lot of cinnamon, or churros. Love those. Okay. These are just outlines, so I don't need to worry about the metal shim because I don't need any detail cuts. So it should be just fine sending it through like this. Tracy asks, what's the challenge? Yeah, no worries about being late. So what we're doing is called Novel Ideas, and you need to find inspiration from a book. And my inspiration is actually a children's book that's called There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed Some Leaves. And I've got leaves, and she also swallowed a pumpkin, and she created a scarecrow by the end of the book. Again, spoiler alert, it's not a long book, but that is the big reveal at the end, because, you know, the kids who hear the book wonder, why is she swallowing all this stuff? Is she that hungry? She has no food at home. What's the reasoning for it? And it's because she was creating a scarecrow. Barbara, we're always fantasizing about food, especially sweets. Yeah, that's common. Oh, Brick by Burke is having a shoulder surgery Friday. Best of luck on your surgery. I hope you recover quickly. You made a pot of greens, pot of rice, one of farro, one of Israeli couscous. Oh, I love Israeli couscous. Mixed veggies, pasta sauce, and pork loin roasts. Wow. Oh my gosh, you've been busy. I'm guessing making sure your family has meals and you have food after your surgery while you're recovering. Yeah, it's a really cute book, Tracy. It's funny. And I always sing it since I teach music, and it is a song. I love getting to do the fake sneezes that are in the book. Okay, let's put these dies back on the acetate. And then we can make some decisions about what else is going to go on this. I do need to still die cut that tree, but for right now, I'm okay with just kind of leaving it there, and we can see which leaves we want to do. I'm saying we, of course, I'm doing this, but I love hearing your input too. I'm imagining we're just all working on this together. Okay. Leaves are cleaned up. All right, so let's go back to this. So I said I'm thinking of the tree in the background, pumpkin up front in the foreground, and then in the super foreground having some leaves. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. Okay, I could tuck some behind. Super sweet. I even wonder like what sentiment I'm gonna do, because these greetings are just so great. Like I'll read a few as an example. Nature's way of showing us magic is through golden leaves and cooler days. Autumn whispers, a gentle reminder that letting go can be graceful, and every ending brings the promise of a new beginning. Autumn is nature's way of reminding us that change can be beautiful. Like these are all super great sentiments. Yeah, I think I could probably fit most of these except for the wide ones, because I have some space over here where I can stamp the greeting. So I'm thinking some of these shorter ones, the longer ones won't work. So I'll pick a greeting probably after you guys, after I sign off. I was gonna say after you guys leave, after you leave my craft room. That's funny, Nancy says, shouldn't the leaves have a bite in them? I'm going to pretend this is the scene before the old lady got there. You know, she walks out, sees her lawn. She's got the leaves that haven't been raked. They all blew off the tree. She's kind of hungry, feeling a little peckish. Is like, you know what? Let me just eat that stuff. And then after she eats it, she makes the scarecrow. So I guess if that's the case, then my pumpkin should not have a face yet, because it's just a pumpkin right now, a pumpkin in her yard. Maybe I could even add the pole. Just take a piece of cardstock, cut it into a strip. She eats the pole so that she could like prop everything up and make that scarecrow. I almost don't think I really need many more leaves. I'm so like clean and simple, you guys, that it's hard for me to add lots of things to a project. All right, so this is the Crispy Leaves die set, which I love the name of that just because I enjoy stepping on the crispy leaves that I encounter when I'm walking around outside. Okay, these are actually good. I think these leaves might be better because they're kind of the same scale as the other ones. This is a big one, obviously. And then these, I think, are just kind of a different type of leaf. It wouldn't really fit with the fall leaf scheme that I have here. So I will cut these 3 and we'll see if we can fit them in. Tracy, oh yeah, the Rolling Hills embossing folder. That would be so cool in the background. I love how you says, do you have it? So I literally have everything we've released ever. Does that mean I can find it? No. This is why the craft room organization project is ongoing, because I have so much stuff in storage. We have a storage unit in our apartment, and like a huge part of that storage unit is big bins that are filled with Altenew projects that are not in any type of order. They're not by theme, they're not by product type, they're not alphabetical. It is just a crazy disaster of non-organized chaos. And I really want to get organized so that I could say, oh yes, the Rolling Hills embossing folder. I know exactly where that is. It's with the embossing folders and in the R's section or whatever. And I'm just not there yet. So if I can find it before next week, that's a great idea. I would love to put that in the background. If not, then the reason why is it because I cannot find it. All right, I'm looking at our time. We only have 4 minutes left. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to put a pause on this project for right now. I am loving how it is turning out. It doesn't look like a Jen project at all. I think I need to do some ink blending at the bottom or maybe put some cardstock so we have a ground. There's no ground right now. I will die cut this other tree. Again, this is just the what's it called? I was going to say the stem. It's the trunk of the majestic maple tree, but I think it looks cool and tells the story without the leaves on it. I will die cut these leaves. I'll put the sentiment on. Hopefully it'll have the Rolling Hills embossing folder in the background. And that'll be it. So that is my inspired by a book. So again, all you need to do for this week's challenge, and make sure you add hashtag Altenew Challenge Live when you post it so that I can find it. I saw somebody like last week or the week before did hashtag Altenew Live Challenge. And I did still stumble upon it, but only because of other Altenew hashtags that were used. So make sure it's Altenew Challenge Live. So hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. And that's how we can find your project. And then you're going to find inspiration from a book. So mine tells the story of what happened before the little old lady started swallowing some leaves. Before she sneezed out a scarecrow while she was in her yard, all the leaves blew off the trees. She has a pumpkin. Maybe she has a pumpkin patch, or maybe this is a pumpkin. She went pumpkin picking and put it on her lawn. And she's like, yep, I'm going to eat all that stuff and I'm going to make a scarecrow. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So let me pop you guys up so I can give you a proper farewell. Hi. I like you guys. Like, I can't wait to see the card. I can't wait to see it too. I'll have to finish it, and then you guys will get to see it next week when we go live again. It's on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So I know that that's not necessarily the same time as you. So make sure you do those time conversions or check us out on the replay. I know that I definitely missed some comments today, so I will be scrolling through and reading them. I want to thank Mitzi for being behind the Altenew badge today and helping by adding all of those links in. If you have any questions and they weren't answered in the chat live, I will do my best to answer them later tonight, this evening, when I get a chance to go back and check out all of the comments that I may have missed. But that'll just about do it or me. We'll be popping in the winner of the $15 gift certificate for those of you who did share the challenge while we were live today. And as always, I hope all of you have a wonderful and crafty day. Nice to see you. I'll see you next time. Bye.